Good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your part of the world. This is King B News and Views. Welcome to this channel. Got a couple of stories I'm going to read. First one. There's a report of 2 salmonella outbreaks and a cucumber recall that is going on right now. So this article is talking about what you need to know or what we need to know. And this article by USA Today, released 16 hours ago. Let's get into it and see the latest threat to our food. And right away, it starts out with the correction and clarification. This story has been updated to reflect that recalled cucumbers have not been linked to any ongoing salmonella outbreaks. So right off the bat, it starts out with a correction and clarification here. So let's continue on reading. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration are investigating 2 salmonella outbreaks that have sickened more than 300 people in at least 25 states and could potentially be connected to cucumbers. In the first reported outbreak, 162 people in 25 states and the District of Columbia have been infected with the strain Salmonella africana, the CDC reported Wednesday. Nearly 3/4 of those patients, or 72%, interviewed said they ate cucumbers. The CDC said 54 people have been hospitalized, but no deaths have been reported in that outbreak. The CDC and FDA are also investigating an outbreak of Salmonella Braden-Durup infections with 158 illnesses in 23 states, the FDA said Wednesday. The agencies did not release what states were included in this second outbreak, but the FDA said in the update, the 2 outbreaks share several similarities, including where and when the illnesses occurred and the demographics of ill people. Investigators are working to determine whether the 2 outbreaks could be linked to the same food vehicle. States where people have gotten sick from salmonella potentially linked to cucumbers. The CDC says epidemiologic data show cucumbers may be contaminated with salmonella and may be causing illnesses. In its outgoing investigation, these states have reported salmonella infections. So the states are Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, District of Columbia, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. Cucumbers recalled in 14 states for possible salmonella contamination. Cucumbers recalled for possible salmonella contamination were shipped to wholesalers and distributors in 14 states, but that recall has not yet been linked to outbreaks. Fresh Start Produce Sales, Inc. of Delray, Florida on May 31st recalled cucumbers grown in Florida and shipped to the 14 states from May 17th to the 21st of this year, 2024. That recall came after some cucumbers tested positive for salmonella, the FDA said on June 1st. On May 31st, the May 31st recall was initiated after the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture informed Fresh Start Produce that a product sample tested positive for salmonella. The cucumbers the company distributes came from a variety of growers. The grower that likely supplied potentially contaminated cucumbers is no longer growing and harvesting cucumbers for the season, the CDC said. Although these cucumbers had a positive salmonella sample, the FDA said it has not linked these products to any ongoing outbreaks. Further testing is underway to see if it is the same strain as the one making people sick, the CDC said. As part of the ongoing investigation, the agencies are trying to determine whether other cucumbers or other products are linked to illnesses. States where the cucumbers were distributed include Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. The recall does not include English cucumbers or mini cucumbers, and any recalled cucumbers should no longer be in the stores, the CDC said. Symptoms of salmonella infection. Salmonella is a bacteria that can get into the food production chain when those handling food do not wash their hands and the process isn't kept sanitary, according to the FDA. It's usually spread in raw and undercooked foods and contaminated water, the CDC says. Typical symptoms of salmonella infection include diarrhea, fever, and stomach cramps. These usually occur between 6 hours and 6 days after exposure, the CDC says. More severe infections may include aches, headaches, elevated fever, lethargy, rashes, blood in the urine or stool. In some cases, the illness may become fatal. Salmonella causes about 1.35 million illnesses, 26,500 hospitalizations, and 420 deaths in the U.S. annually, according to the CDC. How to prevent salmonella infections. Common sense methods of avoiding illness from salmonella include thoroughly washing your hands and your produce, Marla said. With food, keep hot things hot and cold things cold, he said. If you are having symptoms, keep hydrated and see your physician. The concurrent outbreaks is unusual. The second outbreak of Salmonella Bradenderup came out of left field, said Bill Marler, a food safety lawyer. It is unclear at this point if it is linked to the cucumbers or to some other multi-state product. And Salmonella africana is a very rare strain with very few outbreaks in the U.S. ever, he said. Given that the two outbreaks are about the same size and have near the same number of states, they may be the same outbreak just with multiple strains. That does happen, Marla said, told USA Today. The public should be on alert. The CDC is also investigating a salmonella outbreak linked to backyard poultry, which has sickened 109 people, including 33 who were hospitalized. And that's the end of that article. Now let's move on to another article detailing the attack on our food. All right, let's get into it. And this article by Fox Business, released yesterday, popular organic kids snacks found to contain high levels of lead, according to Consumer Reports. All right, a study conducted by Consumer Reports discovered that two popular brands of kids snacks contain elevated levels of lead, though federal standards have not been set on heavy metal levels in baby foods. The Food and Drug Administration only has set limits on heavy metal in infant rice, cereal, and juice, though it is working to put standards in place for other categories of baby foods. The owner of Lead Safe Mama, Tamara Rubin, published a story on her website about Lesser Evil and Serenity Kids products containing lead. Rubin's company focuses on preventing lead poisoning while also raising awareness for parents about sources of lead exposure. For example, she sounded the alarm on Stanley tumblers, which were found to contain lead. More recently, Rubin found that cassava-based snacks like Serenity Kids Puffs contain high levels of lead, leading Consumer Reports to test 4 cassava products from Lesser Evil and Serenity Kids, as well as 2 products from Once Upon a Farm that contain sorghum. The study found that Lesser Evil's Little Puffs Intergalactic Voyager Veggie Blend Puffs contained more lead per serving than any of the 80 baby foods Consumer Reports has tested since 2017. Specifically, the test found the lead content was 112% of the maximum allowable dose levels established by California Proposition 65. James E. Rogers, PhD, head of food safety testing at Consumers Reports, said kids should consume less than half of a serving of the Intergalactic Voyager Veggie Blend Puffs per day. Consumer Reports also found Lesser Evil's Little Puffs Sweet Potato Apple Asteroid and Serenity Kids Tomato and Herb Bone Broth Puffs also contain high levels of lead. Lesser Evil's Asteroid Puffs contain lead levels at 60% of the MADLs, while Serenity Kids Tomato and Herbs contain lead levels at 53%. Based on these levels, Rogers recommended children be given 1.5 servings of puffs at the most per day. Rogers warned that the serving sizes of the puffs are smaller than people may realize, according to Consumer Reports. A single serving of Intergalactic Voyager Veggie Blend is 17 puffs, while the Serenity Kids Puffs are sold in a 1.5 ounce container with 6 servings. The Once Upon a Farm product tested had very low levels of lead, Consumer Reports said, accounting for some of the lowest levels of all the baby food they have ever tested. Clearly, some manufacturers need to do a better job of keeping heavy metals out of their snack foods, and there may be some particular concerns about foods made with cassava, Rogers said. Rogers acknowledged that the FDA recently proposed limits on lead and other heavy metals in some categories of baby food, but he also noted that snack foods were not one of the categories being looked at for lead regulations. The agency needs to take a hard look at the snacks parents feed their children and make sure they don't have dangerous levels of lead and other contaminants, he said. Lesser Evil did not respond to Fox Business's request for comment on the lead levels. Jenny Shin, director of brand marketing for Serenity Kids, told Fox Business their puffs have always been safe for consumption. And that's the picture of the cassava root and cassava root ground up into a flour. All of our products test well below the maximum allowable dose levels established by California Proposition 65, Shin said. We have always addressed lead and all heavy metals head-on because we are confident in the safety of our products and ingredients, and because we believe that our products are healthier than the alternatives that exist today. Like Consumer Reports, Shin said the FDA does not have standards and benchmarks regulating heavy metals in all baby food segments. Instead, the agency only provides drafted guidance on the matter. Without those standards, she says Serenity Kids sought out its own standards and holds all products to the California Prop 65 exposure thresholds for heavy metals, which are some of the lowest published levels in the U.S. Our puffs are completely safe to consume and are compliant with applicable regulations like Prop 65 for heavy metals in the United States based on the recommended serving size, Shin said. She also explained that heavy metals like lead are prevalent in the food system. The Serenity Kids Puffs contain cassava, which Consumer Reports said has been shown through tests to contain high levels of lead. Similarly, other root vegetables like sweet potatoes, carrots, and beets also contain elevated levels of lead. Angelia Sefferth, PhD in the Department of Plant and Soil Sciences at the University of Delaware, told Consumer Reports that lead can occur naturally in soil or end up there from pollution. The lead can accumulate in the plant's roots but not move very well beyond the roots, she said. Cassava can also be processed into flour and baked into snack foods, making the lead levels more concentrated. Shin explained that the Serenity Kids products contain whole food ingredients, so they have a state-of-the-art quality program and testing protocols. For example, they test all of their products and work with suppliers who use remediation methods to find foods with the lowest achievable levels of contaminants, then prioritize them for babies, she said. We also carefully vet all of our suppliers to ensure we are using the cleanest possible ingredients so that we can feel good about the safety of our foods, Shin said. We have always addressed lead and all heavy metals head on because we are confident in the safety of our products and ingredients, and because we believe that our products are healthier than the alternatives that exist today. And that is the end of this article. So now, I mean, really, this shouldn't be lead in foods at all, you know. And of course, they're gonna, you know, a representative of any company is gonna talk about how good their food or how safe their products is. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, for those of you who have babies, um, you got to really do your homework and research um, foods and products before you purchase them and feed them to your babies. I mean, it's real important, you know, unless um, you're gonna buy fresh foods or fresh vegetables and fruits and make the food yourself. But as the first article I read about what's going on with the cucumbers, that's alarming. You know, 25 states, 14 states. You got two different salmonella outbreaks going on. You know, and you know when it comes to the cucumbers, so you got to really be careful where you buying your foods and buying your produce from. You know, because there's a lot going on. You know, it's starting to get to the point of, okay, so what can we eat? What are we supposed to feed our families? Right? So they're not they kind of scale back as far as saying that the outbreaks are caused by the cucumbers, but yet and still they said they found cucumbers with salmonella, and there's two different strains of salmonella, you know, according to this article. So you really have to be careful. We have to be careful when we buy our foods. Um, I would suggest wherever you live, wherever state you live in, county you live in, if you have local farmers, going and talking to your local farmers and you know and see if you could buy direct, right? So you know for sure where your food is coming from. You kind of want to lessen the amount of hands that are touching your food, as you know what I mean, because the more hands touching your food, the higher the probability that you're going to have a problem. You know, as far as salmonella, you know, or any other problem with the food. So you kind of want to lessen the amount of hands touching your food. So buying direct from a farm, I think is a great idea. So if you have the closest farm to you, wherever you stay, wherever you live, you may want to, you know, check them out and see if you can buy direct. I know a lot of farms you can buy direct from the farm, um, you know, from the farm. So you may want to think about that. That's an option. You know, going to a farmer's market, you know, and a farmer and buying direct, you know, from a farm or a farmer's market. A lot of farmers take their produce and what they grow, and they'll go to a farmer's market and sell their food, their products there at a farmer's market. So you may want to check out farmers markets. You know, if you can't get to a farm, you know, go check out to see what days. I know they do farmers markets on certain days. You know, what days, if you have farmer markets in your area, what days they have the farmers markets. All right, again, you want to lessen the least amount of hands touching your food, right? So buying direct from a farmer, Whether you go to a farm and make your purchase, or you go to a farmer's market and make your purchase, is a great idea. And thoroughly wash your foods, your fruits and your veggies, um, when you get them home, before you prepare them for a meal to feed your babies, or to feed your as well as to feed your families, right? Because if not, you may wind up having to deal with a salmonella outbreak. And right now we have two going on. So this is King B News and Views, keeping you informed. I'll have another video coming up soon for you. Something else for us to be aware of. Remember to love yourself unconditionally. Keep your loved ones close. Have meetings. Talk about your plans. Talk about current events. And stay ready. So whatever circumstances may come your way, you are prepared to deal with it, right? Protect the children. Protect the babies. Protect our women. Shout out to all the natural born women out there. This is King B News and Views. Stay safe out there, everybody. For those of you out in the West, stay cool. If you're exercising, I just finished doing my exercises. Remember to pace yourself. It is hot. So please do remember to pace yourself. I mean, I finished doing my exercises a little while ago before I made this video, and I paced myself. Although this heat, this energy coming through really feels good to me, but for many others, they just can't. They have a hard time dealing with this heat. So remember to pace yourself. Stay hydrated. Drink as much water as you can. You may want to eat fruits like watermelon, kiwis, and other fruits that will also help you stay hydrated as well, right? You want to stay hydrated. That's important when you're dealing with heat, right? When it's triple digits, or well above triple digits. Okay. So this is King B News and Views. To the next video. Stay safe out there. Peace.